Hi guys! This is Madz and welcome back to my channel. If it's your first time in my channel, I'm making medical-related videos, some pharmacy videos, and also other videos. You can also check the playlists below if you want to see the types of videos that I've been making. But in this video, we will be talking about mental health. So before anything else, just a disclaimer, I am not in any way an expert on this matter. I am not a psychologist, I'm not a psychiatrist, I'm not a psychotherapist. The only thing that I currently am is that I am a medical intern, but for the past 4 years, I was a medical student. But I'm taking this chance to talk to you about mental health in med school. Why? It was actually a video suggestion by Lisette and also Dr. Dio Imperial. Why? Because I was able to talk to several medical students lately and I noticed that most of them are really having a hard time with the current setup that we have right now na puro online classes. Because I don't see a lot of people talking about this because it's a very sensitive topic. Because I've been there. Because I want to raise awareness. Why? Because why not? For the freshmen, they are definitely having a hard time adjusting from college or maybe even senior high, going to med school directly, tas online agad. Syempre nakakawindang kasi yung mga first year subjects yan yung basics, so minsan yan talaga yung pinakamahirap. For the second and the third year medical students, I know you're having hard time because you have so many requirements, so many case discussions, so many projects, and it's very exhausting to sit in front of the computer ng ilang oras na mas nakakapagod pa kaysa yung nasa school ka talaga tapos palipat-lipat ka ng classroom. For our 4th year medical students or our clerks, I know they have a very hectic schedule and I know it's frustrating because you're longing for actual patient interaction. And then maybe if it's still the PGI matching period, that's also very stressful. For those schools with written revalida, so that can also be an added factor. So basically, basta medical student ka, regardless of what year you're in right now, I know you are having a hard time. But I'm not saying na medical students lang ang nahihirapan na. Syempre lahat tayo may kanya-kanyang pinagdadaanan at may kanya-kanyang paghihirap, no matter what course that is. But I am just here to share the side or perspective of a medical student because I have been there. So for this video, I actually utilized the Facebook and Instagram stories to ask 4 questions about mental health. I want to share to you some testimonials coming from medical students because we can realize from these that there are actually people like you who are going through the same problems. Maybe how they cope can help you cope. Maybe what they realize can also help you realize that it's okay not to be okay. So here was my first question. As a medical student, current or past, do you or did you ever have a mental health problem? And the result was a 78% yes. Syempre, I won't show you kung sino-sino yung mga nag-yes and sino-sino yung mga nag-no. But I was surprised kasi yung mga hindi ko ina-expect na mag-yes, they answered yes. Just because this classmate of yours is always joking around. Kahit tong classmate mong to, laging mataas yung grades niya. Or we see people na mukha namang walang pinagdadaanan sa buhay kasi mukhang wala naman silang problema. Let's think again. A small thing or problem for us might be big for others. And so it is always very important that we try to understand one another and we always reach out to other people. I know that there's a stigma and that some people don't regard mental health problems as an actual condition. But being in the medical field, we must always be aware that it is happening right now and it is happening among us. Tayo-tayo rin mismo yung biktima. Now let's move on to the second question that I asked. As a medical student, what was the biggest hurdle you had to overcome? The first one would be myself, self-doubt, low self-esteem, the feeling of not being good enough. Why? Because we have a tendency to compare ourselves to other people. And because med school comes with the pressure of excelling, of not making a mistake, of always being your best. But sometimes, even if you spend so much hours studying, sacrificing for a certain exam, sometimes it's still possible to fail, to get a low grade, and that would make us think that we are not good enough. The second one would be failing, the pressure not to fail, and thinking if it's still worth it to continue. And we are spending so many years and so much of our life just to become doctors. Kaya't darating at darating din talaga yung panahon na napapaisip tayo, worth it pa ba? The third type of hurdle would be the need to transfer to another medical school, being delayed and not having friends, being so lost and alone. And this may have happened because of possibly failing one subject, or even just getting sick, or just having to stop med because of financial problems. So there can be a lot of reasons. The fourth thing would be remedial exams, because it makes you think, kaya ko pa ba? And also because this is basically the last chance to pass that certain subject. The fifth cause of these mental health problems would be being heartbroken. So not all people, not all medical students may have this as a problem, but it's actually happening. Kasi sa ibabaw ng sobrang dami mong kailangan aralin, sobrang daming kailangan gawin, nagkakaroon pa ng problem sa relationship, and that is very difficult. Sixth would be the time, and also studying at the expense of missing family events, because that is the price that we have to pay, and this is the path that we chose. The seventh would be the pressure of having a specific pre-med course. So, kunyari, kung pharma graduate ka, expected nila magaling ka sa pharmacology. Kung medtech ka, dapat magaling ka sa mga histopatho, etc. And sometimes, that pressure could not be healthy anymore. Because just like everyone else, all of us, we're trying our best given the time that we have. The eighth problem would be uncertainty that this is the path for me. Kasi pag na-feel mo na yung hirap, pag na-feel mo na yung pagod, mapapaisip ka talaga. The last point would be financial struggles. Because according to some medical students who shared, there's a pressure na parang you don't have the latest gadgets, wala ka nung pinakabagong iPad, not having a working laptop, 24/7 Wi-Fi, even medical books or money just to be able to study sa cafes with your friends. And one student even shared that there are semesters when she was almost unable to enroll. I'm sure that this is very common kasi hindi talaga biro magpaaral para maging doktor. We really must consider being here as a privilege. Now let's talk about the third question that I asked. How did you cope with these struggles? One person said that her coping mechanism was by distracting herself from overthinking. Another one is by accepting the situation, seeking help from seniors, and being open to getting to know new people. So this was for the students that had to transfer or those that were delayed. Because what matters is that you're still pushing through with it, you're still continuing, you still want to achieve your dreams. Hindi naman to paunahan eh. And one person mentioned that it's all about putting up a good fight. The next coping mechanism would be by getting support from family and friends, or by being involved in a group or in a community that empowers or encourages you. And we don't just want that, we need that. The next coping mechanism is by seeking help from professionals. Because according to some medical students, yung medications yung nakatulong din sa kanila. The fifth coping mechanism is learning to deal with failure. As we mentioned, a big part of the hurdles that medical students are experiencing would be the fact na babagsak ka talaga. Pero kung paano ka babangon mula sa pagkabagsak mo, it will be up to you. The sixth mechanism would be by reviewing again and again. Why again and again? Kasi ang very important, the coping mechanism would be to never give up. As long as we are alive, there is always hope. The next coping mechanism would be by trusting the Lord, trusting the process, and by praying, lots of prayers. No matter what we are going through, only God can get us through it. We just always have to acknowledge all the blessings that He is giving us. The next coping mechanism would be by crying. And one medical student even said, iyak, dasal, then aral kasi sayang ang oras. The ninth coping mechanism is by focusing on your individual goals. Remember to focus on yourself and be the best version of you, and do not compare. At the end of the day, sarili mo lang talaga yung kalaban mo. The next coping mechanism would be by going back to your whys. Why am I here? Why am I in med school? Why do I want to be a doctor? Para kanino ba to? Always remind yourself of all the reasons why you even chose to be here in the first place. And the last coping mechanism of medical students would be by being content and by being resourceful. Financial limitations should not be a hindrance to becoming a doctor. Because we have to think of med school as an investment, not just to earn in the future, but to serve more people and to serve more patients. For the third question that I asked, what was the biggest realization you gained from these? First, you have to know what you're getting into. That it would really entail a lot of sacrifices, a lot of your time. Hindi lang 4 years yan, it goes beyond med school. You have to be emotionally and mentally prepared and even financially prepared. Next is that everyone has their own timeline. Do not compare yourself to others. Lahat tayo may kanya-kanyang situations, lahat tayo may kanya-kanyang problems na hinaharap bukod sa med school. And so we have to make the most out of what is given to us. Third is for you to do your best, for God will do the rest. You cannot rely on yourself alone. And that means that we have to be generous, but at the same time, we should seek help when we need help. The next one is to never settle for less than what you deserve. If you had to experience a heartbreak during med school, then that's extremely difficult. What you have to remember is that what's more important than your love for that person is your love for yourself. Know what you deserve. Another realization is that experiences will help mold what you would become. Kahit ilang beses ka bumagsak, kahit ilang beses kang umiyak sa med school, it's only meant to make you stronger. The sixth realization of a medical student is that getting back up matters more than failing. But more about the number of times na kinaya mo na gumising ka the next morning telling yourself, babawi ako. The seventh realization is that discipline goes a long way, but a proper balanced mindset would keep things in place. We have to remember na medical students tayo, pero we're also human. We have to accept that we would be repeatedly making mistakes, that we would be making all the sacrifices just to be a doctor. Give yourself a chance and don't be too hard on yourself. The eighth realization is that no matter how smart you are, you're bound to fail if you fail to prepare. Minsan kahit gaano tayo kagrabe mag-aral, hindi pa rin siya sapat kasi mahirap talaga. The ninth realization is that instead of comparing yourself with other people, focus on self-growth. Don't make another person your standard because there would be nobody, and I mean nobody, that would be going through the same things that you are going through. The 10th realization is that it's okay to pause. And remember that taking care of yourself is not a selfish act. You have your own time. That person has his or her own time. Siya may sarili rin siyang oras. Kanya-kanya tayo. And if you want to spend some of your time for self-care, then do so. We also need that. The 11th realization is to be optimistic and to always look at the silver lining. God will not give us anything we cannot handle. Another realization is that you have to acknowledge your emotions and to let them flow. Kasi pag na-stuck sila, they will always bottle up. Always make yourself the priority kasi sarili mo ang puhunan mo. And the last realization that I would like to mention is that med school can really help you look into your heart and to see the extents that you're willing to go through just to achieve that dream. Because God will never fail us, but we also have to do our part. And if there's one thing that I have learned in med school, it is this. If you feel like you're not doing enough, then do more. If still it is not enough, then do even more. But only continue if you still find joy in what you do. If you come to a point na hindi ka na talaga masaya, and it's really compromising how you see the whole picture, then take a break. Give yourself time. Give yourself a chance. Walk at your own pace. Seek help. Call a friend. Let your family know. You are not alone in this. God is with you in each step. You just have to hold His hand and trust Him and His plan. You can go through the worst by believing that it will get better in God's time. I would like to take this chance now to thank every single person who answered all those questions. And I know that with that simple act of sharing and of answering, you would be able to help a lot of people, especially those that are going through the same things that you have been through. There's this one person also who wants to give back by making known one of the most important realizations that she had when she was in med school, as Chen Acosta created Hilom Coffee in order to advocate the importance of mental health. As a medical student herself during this pandemic, she found making coffee as her emotional and creative outlet. With this, Hilom Coffee is generous enough to share to 3 winners the 3 sets of their coffee bundles, which includes ahon, bangon, usbong, at tugon. For the mechanics of the giveaway, like this video and subscribe to my channel. Please like the Facebook page of Hilom Coffee, which I will link in the description box below. And in the comment section of this video, please use a few words to say something about mental health which you think other people might learn from with the hashtag #CopingWithYou. So this is the end of our video, and I really hope that you have learned from what I said, and most especially from all the sharings of the different medical students. Let's all end the stigma by raising awareness regarding this issue. Thank you very much for watching up to the end of this video, and don't forget to hit like and subscribe to my channel, and also comment down below if you have suggestions for my other vlogs.